All right. It's a great day in South Florida. My name is Chris Igoe. Welcome to Living in South Florida. Today we're getting right into it. I found a half-price home for sale in Canyon Isles in Boynton Beach, Florida, and we're going to discuss the Florida housing market correction and what that's going to look like right now and what it looks like in the future. Today I'm going to give you an immersive experience and tour through Canyon Isles, take you directly to this half-price home for sale and show you what that looks like in today's market. There is so much fear, there is so much uncertainty, and I see the comments in the comment section where people are terrified that a home that they might buy right now is going to be cut in half and will be worth half its value. Or worse than that, it'll go to zero, which is impossible. But I found a half-price home that's active in the market right now. So I think it's critical that we know what that looks like, what that condition is, what that is relative to the rest of the market, because I know that the market hates uncertainty. Every market hates uncertainty, whether it's the real estate market, the stock market, crypto market, any type of market hates uncertainty. And fear and uncertainty right now are prevalent, and I totally understand why. We are experiencing the new normal, and I hate to use that term because this is not normal. We are entering into an economic cycle and a future that is completely uncertain and can't be traced back to any other point in history. So I know we're in a recession, I know that we've got inflation, and I know there are lots of markers that I can see, which I share in my content. So I hope you subscribe, and I hope that I'm able to educate, inform, and empower you so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. But right now in today's market in South Palm Beach County, it is shifted radically, and it is shifting. I hate to use the word shift because it's not shifting. Right now we're in a new gear. We've got far less buyers, we've got far more inventory, we've got far less competition, and mortgage rates today are at 6.23%. We jumped over 6%. So I got some heat in one of my last videos about being Nostradamus and predicting that mortgage rates are going higher. Well, my timeline was wrong, and I think I've been very clear in past content that I'm not a market timer. I will never, ever, ever time the top of the market or the bottom of the market. I'm not that smart. Nobody's that smart. And if anybody is telling you that they can time a market, run away as fast as you can, fire them immediately. And if anybody's giving you sales pressure in anything, also run, because there doesn't need to be any type of pressure. Actionable information and robust information and a very thorough screening process to ensure that you and your real estate professional know what is going on, that you've got total clarity about your financial position. But assuming all those things are true, I also know that in uncertain markets, in volatile markets, there is tremendous opportunity. But there's also risk. So I want to address both sides of that equation, and I want to share a story about one of my clients who lost everything. I'm not sugarcoating that. I'm talking about they lost their entire life savings. And this goes back to my stock brokerage days in the financial crisis. The markets were melting down. You had major institutions that were failing. You had Bank of America that was close to failing. And then Warren Buffett came in and injected them with liquidity so that they could remain in business. And the government did that. And too big to fail was a real thing. Well, that's not a thing today. And the government doesn't have the ability to do that today. So I don't suspect we're going to be seeing anything like that. And right now, with inflation ramping up and with interest rates ramping up, there are lots of corporations that can't even afford to service their own debt. So I've talked about this in other videos. There's a lot of pain. Jerome Powell's out there talking about there's going to be some pain. Well, that tells me that he doesn't even think what we're in right now resembles pain. There's a lot more pain and uncertainty and fear that will 100% increase over time, and the psychology of the market will change. Period. That's what happens. But make no mistake, good, bad, right or wrong, up or down, real estate will always trade. Period. And it's always a good market for someone. But that being said, right now the market conditions here in South Palm Beach County are such that it is still a seller's market in many of the markets within the markets. And where I'm taking you right now in Canyon Isles is no different. It is still Not a very strong seller's market, and it's trending to neutral, which will shift to a buyer's market very quickly. But for right now, as of today, it is still a seller's market. But there's a lot more inventory. So there are 7 homes for sale right now. What caught my attention is the fact that the home that I'm about to showcase is the biggest model that exists. And you can see over to the right, Valencia Grand, GL is building another community. So building is still happening, construction is still happening, development is still happening, but on a very small scale, only because there is no more land. That used to be the agricultural reserve or preserve. And now it's not, because money talks and BS walks. And I got news for you. They're in the process right now of trying to negotiate a deal where they can build even more. So I got to go up to this guard gate here. All right, so one of the great things about living in Canyon Isles and all of the Canyon communities is they were built out with all the resort style amenities to max out South Florida living and for families to come in here and thrive. It is an incredibly great place to live. It is a very friendly, neighborly community. Canyon Isles was one of the first canyons that was developed. So this was built out in, or this particular home was built out in 2006. And the original buyers who bought this home bought it for 1.142, right? That was in 2007. I should probably pay attention to the roads here. But that's what they paid for it, right? Good, bad, right, or wrong, that's what they paid. It's for sale right now at $600,000. As you can see, this is a really nice street, really nice community. I've done tons of videos in the past where I showcase. All right, we're coming up on this puppy. All right, and you can tell, look how nicely maintained this one is. Look how nicely maintained this one is. Look how nicely maintained this one is. And then welcome to this disaster. Okay, now, within each disaster, there is opportunity. So I don't see this as a disaster. I see this as a massive opportunity for the right buyer, for the right investor, or for the right family that has the wherewithal and the endurance to fix this puppy up. Because make no mistake, this home is a complete disaster. In fact, it's so bad that I can't even access the property, the mold, the Chinese drywall that they have in there. Everything in this house is essentially gutted to the core. There are so many issues with the house that I can't even begin to accurately detail what it would cost to actually make this house whole. But I do know there's a massive opportunity here, and there is tremendous weakness right now for these sellers. So I followed the chain of title, and it appears to me that this is a situation. Obviously, these sellers want to offload this home. And I think the parents are no longer with us, although I don't know that to be true. This is me reading tea leaves, but I can tell that the title has transferred from family member to family member, and there's all kinds of different things that have happened, but none of that is an obstacle. It is what it is, and there is always a solution, but they're ready to sell. All right, so I just left the car and did a little walk around the property and found there was a window open. I was able to see the interior of the property. It is a complete frame. This is a shell of a house. This is essentially rebuilding a house with the exterior already intact, right? So there are half-price homes available right now in Boynton Beach, in Canyon Isles, and that's what they look like. And I say that to help pop the bubble of perception that exists that you're going to get a home like this for half price, because there's no data to support that until there is. And so if that should ever happen, I will be the first one out there sharing exactly what that looks like so that you can go out there and get the best deal possible. But I am committed to making the best content, the most comprehensive content, so that you know exactly what's going on in every market that I can possibly share about, so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. Now, these sellers, clearly, they are out. They want to cash in. And what's interesting is they listed this home in April for $300,000. They listed it previous to that a few years back at $210,000. and now they're at 600,000. I got news for you. Nothing has changed within that home between when they listed it in April to where it's at right now to increase the value to 600,000. But irrespective of that, my thoughts on what that home should be valued at is irrelevant. Anybody else's opinion about what the value of that home should be is irrelevant. That home is going to be worth what someone is willing to pay. And that is the market for the home. So if a buyer is out there ready, willing, and able to purchase that home, whatever price, that is what the market is. And that's what I mean by the market is always right. Now, there are lots of sellers out there that have a very high opinion of what their home is valued at. And nobody cares because the market is always right. And your home will only be worth what a buyer is ready, willing, and able to pay, period. End of story. Doesn't matter what the market conditions are. Now, I did speak to the listing agent on this one, and what he said was they've got 10 contracts right now, and they're already 100,000 over ask. Now, full disclosure, I don't believe him. Not that I don't believe he has 10 contracts. I do suspect he has 10 contracts. However, you can't really access that property, right? You saw that window was open. So somebody was opportunistic and went in there. I'm not going in there because I value my health. And I know there's mold in Chinese drywall. So the last thing I'm going to do is set myself up at risk to get sick. But I'm also mindful of that is a diamond in the rough. So someone is going to capitalize on that opportunity. And what will that price be? I don't know. But what I do know is I'm going to take that to my GC and I'm going to figure out exactly what it's going to cost. And I will get granular as to what the after repair value is because I know somebody who wants to buy that home. This guy. And I know that I'm not alone. Now, full disclosure, there are rental restrictions in that particular community. So this is not something that you can just fix up, which by the way, that's not a fixer-upper. That's a complete redo. But nonetheless, you can't rent it for a year. So whoever it is that's going to buy that home must be mindful of that. And a lot of investors are not going to be interested in that. But there's someone who's out there that absolutely will be. And I'm going to get granular as to what it will cost to actually make that house whole. But everything is wrong with that house. And that's where the opportunity lies. And make no mistake, there will be homes similar to that, although I don't think in that bad condition, where people are going to get squeezed. Goldman Sachs is out there this morning, news article saying that the recession is going to be way worse than they expected it to be, or whatever the headline is. But no kidding. I've been doing content about that, and I'll continue to do content about what I see in real time so that you can govern yourself accordingly and make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. Now, back to my clients who lost everything. This is back to my stockbroker days. It's the end of the world. It's the financial crisis. You've got American institutions, companies that have been around forever. You've got Lehman Brothers. You've got Bear Stearns. The entire financial sector is on fire and people are losing their minds. Well, I had just started a new relationship with an elderly client and I really love this couple. They reminded me so much of my parents that I was so excited to help them in this time of uncertainty, and they were really scared. Part of my onboarding process is to review some of their other accounts, and they kept talking about another account that they wanted to transfer to me so that I could manage because they did not like the manager that they were using at that point. And so part of my process is to review their account statements and then lean in with the best advice that I can give them. They believed they had several $1 million in this account and they wanted me to review it. So as you could imagine, I was pretty excited about that. This is in a time of massive crisis and massive uncertainty, and there is tremendous fear out there, and they were afraid, but I was very excited to guide them through this turbulent time. And so I waited. These were people who were not particularly technology savvy, and so they actually FedExed their statement to me, and I anxiously awaited. When I received the statement, I almost dropped dead of a heart attack because the account that they wanted to transfer in is an account that was managed by Bernie Madoff. And their account, which in their minds they believed was worth several $1 million, was worth nothing. Nothing. Zero. And I realized that they didn't realize that what they were seeing on paper was actually true. And I had to be the bearer of the bad news that they had just lost everything. It was heartbreaking. And I share that story because I know that we're entering into a period of mass uncertainty and mass volatility and mass fear. And the truth is, all of it is probably warranted. But I've also found the only way through that uncertainty is by getting total clarity on what's going on right now in whatever market it is that you are in, real estate or otherwise, but then also doing a thorough audit of your own finances and your own life to get total clarity on where you're at and where you're going, so that you can map out a plan to get to wherever it is that you want to go. So I'm committed moving forward to fill the void. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'll tell you exactly what I mean. I notice a lot of the audience in the analytics watch lots of other channels, and I can see who they are. One of them is Meet Kevin. Now, Meet Kevin, I think, is a phenomenal content creator. I think he is a phenomenal educator. He started out as a realtor, and over time, he evolved into the CNBC of YouTube. And I think he's great. I love his content. But he just announced that he is quitting YouTube. Now, I'm not proposing that I'm turning this channel into Meet Chris, but I'm also aware that I've got a 20-year history, or actually to be specific, an 18-year history navigating markets that are turbulent, that are uncertain, and now I am committed to providing the most robust content on a much wider scope of information. Because although I am not a financial advisor and nothing that I'm saying right now should be taken as investment advice, but I am absolutely seasoned and experienced with navigating turbulent markets. So moving forward, you can expect to see more content related to what I see in real time across the board as it relates to pretty much everything. So what does that mean right now if you're thinking about buying a home? It means that you should be absolutely certain as to whether buying a home is right for you. It means that you should work with a professional who can educate, inform, and empower you to make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. And that's exactly what I'm committed to doing. So if you're thinking about buying and you're local here in my market, check out our buyer's guide, which will be linked down below or up in one of these tabs up here. Separate to that, if you're thinking about selling, you can click the link below or opt in for our seller's guide, which will tell you everything you need to know about selling a home in Florida. Separate to that, if you're outside of my market, if you're unfamiliar with the area and you want to know what living in South Florida is really like, then please opt in for our city/relocation guide, because it's going to tell you everything that you must know about every city in South Florida. And separate to that, I noticed that a lot of the audience is not in my markets. So if you're out there and you're looking for a real estate or mortgage professional, someone that I know, like, and trust, that I've vetted, that can absolutely serve and support you at the highest level, then please opt in for a referral and we'll get you connected with the best of the best right away. If you found this content valuable, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and watch my next video now, because I think you'll love it a lot. And until next time, peace.